Hey guys, so Griff and I are back here to read to you the fifth part now of Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. So maybe you remember last time we were starting to read those concrete poems, those poems that take on the shape of whatever topic they're about. So I'll go back and read Jack's entry about his poem from yesterday. First we had read The Apple by S.C. Rigg, and then we had just got to read My Yellow Dog by Jack. March 1st. Yes, you can type up the yellow dog poem that looks like a dog, but this time keep the spaces exactly the same. And maybe it would look really, really good on yellow paper. Maybe you could put my name on it, but only if you want to. Only if you think it looks good enough. March 7th. I was a little embarrassed when people said things to me like, "Neat poem, Jack," and "How'd you think of that, Jack?" And I really, really like the one you put up about the tree that is shaped like a tree. Not a fake-looking tree, but like a real tree with straggly branches. But I want to know, who is the anonymous poet in our class who wrote that? And why didn't he or she want to put his or her name on it? Was it like me when I didn't think my words were poems? Maybe you will tell the anonymous tree poet that his or her tree poem is really a poem. Really, really, and a good poem too. Certainly seems like Jack is enjoying poetry now and enjoying writing poetry now. March 14th. You know, that just made me think of a question before I start this next one. Have you ever thought you weren't going to like something and then tried it and found out that you really, really liked it? That might be a question we need to think about in response to this section. March 14th. That was the best poem you read yesterday by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. The best poem ever. I'm sorry I took the book home without asking. I only got one spot on it. That's why the page is torn. I tried to get the spot out. I copied that best poem and hung it on my bedroom wall, right over my bed, where I can see it when I'm lying down. Maybe you could copy it too and hang it on the wall in our class where we can see it when we are sitting at our desks doing our stuff. I sure like that poem by Mr. Walter Dean Myers called Love That Boy, because of two reasons I liked it. One is because my dad calls me in the morning just like that. He calls, "Hey there, son!" And also because when I had my yellow dog, I loved that dog. And I would call him like this. I'd say, "Hey there, Sky!" His name was Sky. So, sounds like Jack has found his favorite poem, the best poem ever, he thinks, by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, called Love That Boy. Here it is. Here in the book, they only actually give us the first stanza. So if you're interested, you could always look it up and see if you could find the whole poem instead of just the first stanza. So here it is, Love That Boy, first stanza, by Walter Dean Myers. Love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. I said I love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. Love to call him in the morning, love to call him, "Hey there, son." No, that poem does have a nice, loving feeling to it, doesn't it? So what are some of the strategies and techniques that you see that Walter Dean Myers used. Ooh, let's see if I can get this there in that poem. So, do you notice maybe some repetition in there? Okay. And I also see that where it says, like a rabbit loves to run. Now, in some of the other poems we've read, we haven't talked about it yet, but sometimes in poetry, you see similes and metaphors. And I think we've talked about these a little bit before. So a simile is when you're comparing something, like in this case, how much he loves that boy, to how much a rabbit loves to run. So when you are making a comparison like that and you use the words like or as in the comparison, like they do here, love that boy, like a rabbit loves to run, that's called a simile. So when you use that comparison with the words like or as in it, that's how you know it's a simile. And then if you make a comparison, but you do not use the words like or as, then that is a metaphor. So we'll have to see if we can find some examples of some metaphors somewhere else. Okay. So maybe what we can also do here is try to write our own love that, I don't know what do you really love? So maybe we can write some poems ourselves that about something that we really love or someone that we really love. And we'll have to try to set it up here in the same way so that we're using that repetition and that we are making a simile explaining how much our love for them or for that thing is like something else, and then maybe describing something that we do with them, like in this case, love to call him in the morning. And then they repeat that, love to call him, hey there, son. Maybe you don't call this person. Maybe you do something else with them. Or maybe you have a thing and maybe you do something with that. So we'll have to think of a way to make our own version of the Love That Boy poem. But it really spoke to Jack, which is awesome because it's really good to find something that, means a lot to you, whether it's a book or a poem or music of some kind. March 22nd. My yellow dog followed me everywhere. Every which way I turned, he was there, wagging his tail and slobber coming out of his mouth when he was smiling at me all the time, as if he was saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing me, and jumping up on me, his shaggy, straggly paws on my chest, like he was trying to hug the insides right out of me. And when us kids were playing outside, kicking the ball, he'd chase after it and push it with his nose, push, 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 and getting slobber all over the ball. But no one cared, because he was such a funny dog. That dog Sky, that straggly, furry, smiling dog Sky. That's a really great poem that he wrote describing his yellow dog Sky. I feel like I know him, even though I never met that dog. Oh, there's more. And I'd call him every morning, every evening. Hey there, Sky. March 27th. Yes, you can type up what I wrote about my dog Sky, but don't type up that other secret one I wrote, the one I'll fold it up in the envelope with tape on it. That one uses too many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words. Maybe Mr. Walter Dean Myers would get mad about that. So sometimes when you write like a piggyback song or a piggyback poem based on someone else's work, you have to be careful because we've talked about plagiarizing and copying, right? But using someone else's idea and making it into your own is okay, especially if you give that person credit. So listen to what Ms. Stretchberry's response is here. April 4th. I was very glad to hear that Mr. Walter Dean Myers is not the sort of person who would get mad at a boy for using some of his words. And thank you for typing up my secret poem, the one that uses so many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words. And I like what you put at the top. Inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. That sounds good to my ears. Now no one will think I just copied because I couldn't think of my own words. They will know I was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. But don't put it on the board yet, okay? Is Mr. Walter Dean Myers a live person? And if he is, do you think he could ever come to our city, to our school, to our class? And if he did, we should hide my poem with his words. Hide it real good, just in case he would get mad about that. April 9th. No. No, 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 no. I can't do it. You should do it. You're a teacher. So this is one of the responses that you're going to do this time. I'm going to ask you to write Miss Stretchberry's response. Finally now, we've been waiting for that. In between, on April 4th, Jack talking about if Mr. Walter Dean Myers might ever possibly come to their school, to their class. And then on April 9th, when he responds, no, 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 I can't do it. You should do it. You're a teacher. What do you think Miss Stretchberry's response was to Jack in between those two entries? What is he saying no to? April 12th. I don't agree that Mr. Walter Dean Myers might like to hear from a boy who likes his poems. I think Mr. Walter Dean Myers would like to hear from a teacher who uses big words and knows how to spell and type. That might be another clue about what Miss Stretchberry was asking him to do. Right there, the smaller one, April 12th. I wonder if you've ever been inspired by someone. Because that could be a fun thing to do with our time right now at home, is that if someone, whether it's an author or an actor or an actress or a family member or someone from school or someone from your town or an athlete, there's anybody at all that you know, someone who has inspired you, this might be a nice time to try to write them a letter, letting them know how they've inspired you in some way, because everybody right now might like to hear something like that from people that they're inspiring, because as we know, a lot of people could use a little pick-me-up right now, right? And I think hearing whoever who inspired me, that would make them feel good. So think about doing something like that for someone. Okay, here's the last one we're going to read today. April 17th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, you probably don't want to hear from me because I am only a boy and not a teacher, and I don't use big words, and you probably won't read this, and even if you do read it, you are probably way too busy to answer it, let alone do the thing I am going to ask you. And I want you to know that's okay, because our teacher says writers are very, 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 very busy trying to write their words. And the phone is ringing, and the fax is going, and the bills need paying, and sometimes they get sick. I hope you are not sick, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Or their family gets sick, or their electricity goes off, or the car needs fixing, or they have to go to the grocery store, or do the laundry, or clean up messes. I don't know how you find the time to write your words if you have to do all that stuff, and maybe you should get a helper. So what I am asking you is this. If you ever get time to leave your house, and if you ever feel like visiting a school where there might be some kids who like your poems, would you ever maybe think about maybe coming maybe to our school, which is a clean place with mostly nice people in it? And I think our teacher, Miss Stretchberry, would maybe even make brownies for you, because she sometimes makes them for us. I hope I haven't too much stopped you from doing your writing of words and fixing your car and getting groceries and all that stuff. just to read this letter.